Don't actually know what I'm going to say here, but I never do. Today I feel a bit nervous because I've got a Yorkshire Wagyu full packer brisket. It's from the legendary Butcher Gav at Yorkshire Craft Butchery. Do you think he's a legend as well?
Yeah. Yay, Gav.
Yay, Gav. Team Gav. I haven't bought anything off Gav for a few months. This is a great place to start. I've got a few other bits in the freezer from him as well, but I couldn't not cook this because today it's actually raining. It's been raining on and off all day, but we don't care because we've finally got a shelter. It got fitted a few days ago. Still got some work to do. We've got to put some cladding up to create some walls and get all the furniture in and stuff like that, but right now we can film and cook in the rain. Right, we'll try not to mess this up, eh? The dog's nose is going to go into overdrive right now. She's got a bit of a heft to her. Oh, blimey, governor. Sheesh. Right, I'm not a regular brisket cooker. In fact, I've only ever cooked one brisket in my life. And luckily, it didn't turn out too bad. It was a Miguel Vergera or something like that from John Davidson's, and I think it was 5.5 kilos. This is 7 kilos. So I can only go off what I've seen on other videos. And what we want to try and do is cut off excess hard fat, get it to be a little bit streamlined and smooth around the edges. And as criminal as it looks to cut so much off such an expensive piece of meat, you just keep all your offcuts and grind them up and make sausages or burgers. Now, I'm not going to make sausages because it looks like a right faff, but I might well get myself a grinder in the future and make my own burgers. Piss off, fly. This thin end is extremely thin. It's 1 inch at the most. So that's just going to burn up during the cook, but this is quite fat, this end. So it kind of starts going thin around here. Oh, I need a bigger board, mate. So that's just fat there as well. It's hardly any meat there. So this is going to have quite an aggressive trim, I think, at the end. Something like that. That's pretty much a steak. And you can see there's a good bit of meat there, but it literally, there's a big dip here. There's next to nothing at this end. It's just fat, a little bit of meat and fat. I'm getting meat jizz all over my t-shirt. This is quite rough at the end. So we're just going to take a thin edge off this. So all these bits that are they're barely attached, they'll end up just creating their own little curly bit. So we are going to have a lot of trimmings in here. There seems to be a big pocket of fat in here. So we'll get that removed without taking too much meat off. Flies around here are all shouting at each other, party! Don't for 1 minute think this is a how-to video onto how to trim or even cook brisket. This is just you watching me trim and cook a brisket. That's the bottom trimmed as much as I feel like I need to do, and as far as my limited knowledge will go. I've got rid of a lot of silver skin, some extra bits around the sides. So now we've got the top. Where'd you start, eh? Now I know this mohawk normally comes off because during the cook, these little thin bits are just going to crisp up and you'll end up cutting it off and binning it because it's no good anyway. So this is the perfect time to tackle that by taking it off. Oh, you can feel it's solid fat. See it all in there? It's absolutely thick with it. I had this brisket in the freezer for about an hour before I started trimming. It's just starting to warm up now. You can feel it just getting a bit soft and just a bit trickier to cut. So we've got quite a thick layer of fat here. So we want to try and get that down to a 1/4 of an inch, do you reckon? That's not a 1/4 of an inch. That's too much. So you can see the end of the flat there. It's got quite a nice thick layer of meat, but then you can see fairly uniform layer of fat, but then just round the corner, a massive big bit of fat here. So what we need to do is just make all this fairly uniform on the top and just trim all these scraggly bits off the end as well. I'll bring it back. We're definitely not going to win any competitions with piss off with the trimming, but I'm quite happy with that. There's a little bit of silver skin on the bottom. It's just a bit of a faff getting it off. I don't know where to take this bit off. I might regret not taking that corner off because it's a bit rough. I've had to take the big bit of fat out here. I'm going to do it. Look at that. That marbling. That is redunculous. It looks like leopard spots. It's phenomenal. Right, I think I'm happy with that. I'm not looking for perfection, obviously, because I ain't perfect, even though my wife thinks I am. There might be a couple of bits when we slice it. It might have a bit more fat than others, but I'm really happy with that fairly uniform layer of fat down there. There wasn't really much fat on this side, so that might be a bit drier, but honestly, it smells amazing, it looks amazing, and I'm pretty confident it's going to taste pretty good. Only a tiny bit of trimmings. I'm going to go with a simple salt and pepper rub, and the classic Texas way of doing it is 2 parts pepper, 1 part salt. Now obviously there might be some people out there who have a slightly different version, but that seems to be the most popular. So I'm going to use a typical barbecue measuring vessel, Tequila Rose strawberry cream shot glass. 1 part. 2 parts. So the 1 part salt, I've got some Diamond Crystal kosher salt, and I don't want this to be too salty, but I do want some seasoned salt in it. So I'm going to go 1/2 part. Oh, that's not half. 1/2 part Diamond Crystal kosher salt, and then I'm going to go 1/2 part Lowry's seasoned salt. Give that a bit of a mix up. This tray looks like it's made to measure. So a fairly liberal coating of our seasoning. I might not have made enough, so this is probably the bit where I have to take my gloves off and make some more. I do feel like I'm in Texas. Flies and brisket. Then we'll go presentation side. That might actually be the perfect amount of rub. Now that's a perfect quantity for this, because what I'm going to do is leave this overnight in the fridge to dry brine. Bit lumpy there, bit of a dip, but it'll be part of the learning process. And if you've got any tips for leftover brisket recipes, feel free to let me know, because I do want to make some Texas Twinkies with the jalapenos. I just can't find any jalapenos locally. I've looked for them a few times. Right, get that in the fridge overnight, and I'll see you first thing in the morning. Good morning. The cockerel is very vocal and the sun is just coming over the hills here now, mate. It's stunning round here first thing in the morning. So peaceful and so early. I got the barbecue ready last night. So all I did was I filled the bottom section up with Weber briquettes, and I've gone for a mixture of cherry wood chunks and oak wood chunks. The brisket's been in the fridge all night. Got this ready last night so I could just open it this morning and light it really. So I've just put about 10-15 briquettes into the chimney starter, got them started. I'll pour that in, and then I'll get obviously the barbecue to temperature, get it stable, and then we'll introduce the beast. I've got the briquettes in the chimney white hot, poured them onto the unlit coals and smoke. They will ignite the unlit coals and the wood underneath, creating the smoke. I'm going to aim for about 130, 120 Celsius maybe. Deflect the plate in. Got a big drip pan full of hot water, obviously the grate over that, and then my little extender thing. I'm going to cook on top of that extender to get that smoke in the dome. I've settled on 110 degrees Celsius. That seems to be around 225 Fahrenheit. It seems pretty steady. As soon as you change the vents on this thing, it just seems to stop dead. But I'm going to keep an eye on it for 20 minutes, half an hour or so, just to make sure the temperatures don't move at all. Wait for that smoke to get a little bit cleaner, and then the brisket's going on. Our fridge smells amazing. I am a little bit concerned about this hump, this dip, and there's a bit of a dip here as well. I'm going to need to keep an eye on these to make sure that the juices aren't pooling too much. Ideally you want it to be nice and streamlined, but maybe I should have cut this mohawk back a little bit more, but it's all part of the learning process. I wasn't planning on putting a probe in, but I just feel like I need to keep an eye on this today. That might well ruin the aesthetics of some of our slices, but I'd rather know if it was cooking hotter and faster than I expected. I'm going to set it to about 94, but we're going to do, we're going to wrap it before then. I'm just going to keep an eye on it. The dog seems to be loving this shelter now that it's got a roof on it. Look at the sun's coming through there now. I've changed my mind on the position. Don't ask why. You tend to play mind games with yourself. So it's going just this side of the point in the flat. It's now 7:45, later than planned. We're at 110 Celsius, so that's about 230-ish Fahrenheit. Point towards the back. Let's make sure it's above the drip pan. We'll see you in many hours. Well, I've just been to the shop, and then while I was at the shop I checked my app and I realised, oh shit, this has reached 80 degrees Celsius. We have got a little pooling of juice here as expected. This side isn't so bad, so I'm kind of happy with that. The fat's starting to render quite well. The bark is setting quite well too. I'm going to follow Chud's barbecue advice and do a foil boat. So the idea behind this is it still allows the fat to continue to render. Gives you a bit of a crispier bark on the top, which I'm happy with. And it also catches the juices underneath as well. But you can kind of protect the edges from going a bit crispy. Looking good so far. Just a big black lump. It's cooking quicker than expected so far, so hopefully this will continue to cook quite quick without drying out. I am shocked and concerned that the thermometer says this has reached 95, 96 Celsius. I mean, it looks like a good brisket. 94, 93, 99. Obviously the flat is a higher temperature. I suppose the most important thing is that flat is just absolutely done. oh my God, this point is done too. It's bloody tender. I'll take this probe out. Now what I wanted to do was get my fingers underneath. I've got some heat-proof gloves under these black things. I wanted to get my gloves underneath and feel, but it's absolutely, the boat is full of tallow. Let's see if we can lift this without losing any juice. No, I don't think it's quite ready at the bottom yet. I'm going to give it another half an hour and then test it out. Let's hope we're done, eh? Oh, a little bit of leakage at the side. Sneaky, sneaky. I mean, oh my God, I could literally bury my face in that right now. That's got to be done. Oh, that feels much more tender than the bottom now. Tell you what, these cotton gloves, I've never used them before. I picked them up last time I was in Alfresco Chapel, the barbecue shop in Chorley, and they work an absolute treat. I normally get me big welder's gauntlets covered in juice, but today I haven't. So I'm going to use this tray. There's so much juice in this tin foil, I want to maintain as much of that as I can. This is going in the cool box to rest now. I've just been trimming, chopping up my brisket trimmings to go in the freezer. And I was thinking, I should have smoked some of this beef fat, the tallow, to pour over this at the end. Honestly, do not need it. There is plenty in here right now. Don't spill, don't spill, don't spill. I'm also going to rest it completely unwrapped at the top. No, this isn't the best camera angle, but I couldn't move the camera properly because my gloves are full of goodness. I'm going to give that 4 hours minimum. Full credit to this Weber Summit Kamado. I used Weber briquettes on this. I didn't have the confidence to use lumpwood on potentially such a long cook. If I'd have knew it was going to cook this quick, I could have used lumpwood charcoal. But Jack is licking the cool box. I expected this to take 14, 15, maybe 16 hours. It took just over 6.5, I think it was. The barbecue's running solid, about 120 degrees right the way through. It did have a little bit of a spike. I was going to do this overnight and then put it in about 11, 12 o'clock and then get up about 6. I'm glad I didn't, because the temperature on this spiked about an hour after I first started cooking. And I had to close the vents to almost completely close to bring it back down to about 120. But since then it's been rock solid right the way through. I'm now at the moment which I am dreading and looking forward to in equal measures. The brisket's been resting for 4.5 hours. I'm going to slice into it. It feels good. This is the biggest board I own, and I think if I'm going to be cooking brisket fairly regularly, I'm going to have to treat myself to a slightly bigger board. It's got a bit of jiggle to it, so it's making all the right noises. Now, I've watched people's videos where they pour this over this, but I need a board with a ridge around the edge. You know what I mean? Do they catch the fat? Let me go and I'm going to have to get a spoon. Very un-Texan of me, like, but I'm going to have to get a spoon to pour it over. So this is just the juices that have come out of the meat since I wrapped it. You can already see the juices wanting to escape off the edge of this board. Nobody warns you that this cooking brisket is such a messy affair. Right, okay, I'll have to bring the camera in closer for this, because if this turns out good, I want you to see it. Got myself a new knife just for this brisket. So if I'm right in thinking, we need to cut. So there's the point, isn't it? I'm thinking we need to cut. Oh God, why am I so bloody nervous? Round here. Come on, baby, be good. Yeah, I'm very happy with that. I'm not going to squeeze it, because it's just, it's falling out, mate. It's absolutely falling out. There's pretty much no smoke ring. Let's cut this point, shall we? It's making all the right noises. See, this is where you find out how good your fat trimming was, because there's just a thin layer of fat on top of here, and then there it's quite fat. Apparently, it's meant to droop over your knife, not fall under its own weight, but pull apart. Oh, pull apart really easy. This isn't exactly like watching Bradley Robinson on Chud's Barbecue, but for my second ever brisket, especially being a UK brisket, I'm really pleased. Let's give the fatty ends a go, shall we? Aye, you cut this a different way. So we haven't got perfectly rendered fat. That is bending. Doesn't fall under its own weight, but quite easily comes apart. Oh, it's getting better. It is actually getting better. Shish kebab. Look. That's a UK brisket. That is a UK brisket. That is poor. I could just eat all this now. It's literally gushing. The light's not very good under this shelter, but you can see a bit more of a smoke ring. There's a bit of pink around the edge, but it ain't no Texas competition winner. I don't think Aaron Franklin's got anything to worry about. I just thought I'd bring it into a little bit of a lighter environment. Now, looking through my camera lens, that looks quite looks quite grey. Come on, baby. Taste as good as you look. You barely have to chew it. That is so good. Oh my God. I'm pretty sure I mentioned at the beginning, but this is from Butcher Gav. He has his own Instagram account, but Butcher Gav owns Yorkshire Craft Butchery up in Huddersfield. This is a Yorkshire Wagyu full packer brisket, 7 kilos. And I think he said it was aged in the Himalayan salt chamber. That is phenomenal, mate. The taste is just beautiful. Oh my God. I can't stop eating it. Bloody dog wants some, doesn't he? Up here. Up. Good boy. Right, I'm going to go and eat quite a lot more of this. The trimmings look amazing. So I know what I'm going to do with the fat. That can be tallow, because I've got some beef cheeks in the freezer. So I can use that to confit the beef cheeks. But leftover brisket, other than Texas Twinkies, I think Crispy Eats, there's a lad on Instagram called Crispy Eats. He does some phenomenal creations with food. I messaged him saying I was a bit nervous about how it's going to turn out. I'll end up just drowning it in gravy. And he said pies. Brisket pie. Oh, UK brisket, who knew? See you soon.